Hello, brothers and sisters. I am making this audio titled The Immortal Body to help others understand how it is that immortality is possible. To a lot of people, the thought of immortality is a strange and bizarre idea because everyone is used to the fact that everyone must die. However, this is not true. Science proves that the body can indeed become immortal. It is actually a bit of an enigma that we die, to be honest. So I'm going to cover that as much as possible. However, I'm not going to be able to cover the entire topic in one audio. So I'm going to explain scientifically what happens with the body in order to make this possible. Now, what causes death? If someone were to die of, say, old age. Well, there you have it, old age. They aged. So by aging, eventually they die. So it is not death, it is aging that causes the end result of death and thus no immortality. So then the real question is not what makes us die, but what makes us age. So what makes us age? A lot of things make us age. As I said, there's a lot of topics on this, and it cannot be covered in one audio. We'll start with the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland secretes what's known as human growth hormone. Now, in your 20s, up until the age of 21, your pituitary gland is 100% open, and it is secreting 100% of human growth hormone. This human growth hormone is healing your body. So your body is constantly regenerating itself. It is said that within about 7 years you have a brand new physical body. So there's your immortality right there. You have a brand new physical body within 7 years. And many pieces and parts of it are already regenerated within that time. The entire body, everything, within 7 years is regenerated. So within a year, you may have, say, new lungs, or new kidneys, or what have you. So your body is continuously regenerating itself, thus the immortality. However, at the age of 21, a curious thing starts to occur with the pituitary gland. It begins to shrink, and this has to do with the imbalances in the soul. And as it begins to shrink, it begins to secrete less human growth hormone. Thus, your body does not regenerate itself as well. And over the time, say an 80-year-old is 80% closed of a 21-year-old or 20-year-old. So thus he's secreting 80% less human growth hormone than a 20-year-old. So it is easy to see that his body is not regenerating as quickly. And so therefore, as it goes on less and less over time, eventually the body just gives out. So that's just one thing, the human growth hormone and how the body regenerates itself. Now, if the pituitary gland were to stop shrinking at around the age of 80, he would stay an 80-year-old for the rest of his life. I mean, for the rest of eternity, rather. But because it continues to shrink, thus he begins to not be able to regenerate more and more until the body cannot sustain itself any longer. Now, this is where the magnum opus comes in. Because say if someone was 80 years old and their soul corrected itself and its pituitary gland were to go from 80% shrunken to back to its original state of 100% open, then he would de-age immediately because the human growth hormone would be pumped out and it would regenerate him back to a 20-year-old. So this is the scientific way that this occurs. Now, you could take human growth hormone in a capsule and it will regenerate your body. I mean, you could de-age yourself 20 years taking that stuff if it's a high enough dosage. However, the thing is, it does not stop the pituitary gland from shrinking, and therefore It's a symptom reliever, but it doesn't really attack the root cause. You're still going to age and you're still going to die. So that's one thing there. But there are many other things. I mean, science is constantly finding new ways to change it. They can remove one chromosome and add 20 years to your life, and the list goes on and on. There's another thing. I believe it's pronounced telomeres that are in your blood cells. And when you're born, you have 10,000 of them. Now, if you reach the limit of 5,000, you will die. You cannot exceed 5,000 of them. So life is the losing of 5,000 of these telomeres. So what would happen if we put more in? Well, there's been experiments where they've taken a shot of them and increased the amount in the blood cells, and the results were remarkable. They turned back the clock. The person de-aged 20 years, is what the report says. So, therefore, by putting them back in the blood cells, they de-aged them entirely. So if you were to put enough back in and keep doing this continuously, this is another way to prolong life. However, science has been held back for millennia and is fought at every turn. We could be immortal right now, tomorrow, if science was not restricted in any way. But they don't want this knowledge to come out, and they don't want this to happen, so they keep attacking it every chance they get. Just like everyone would be driving electric cars right now, and it'd probably be $5 for 1,000 miles. Okay? But every time something like that comes out, it's suppressed and fought and held back, and this is why people die. So, again, if you want to look for blame the people who hold back the knowledge. That's why society is the way it is. It's not because we're fighting as hard as we can in the right direction. So, another experiment occurred where they used the chant Satanama. Now, they chanted it Satanama, like that. And they did this for about 15 minutes, and within a month, they had the exact same results as the shot. So this chant puts the telomeres back in your blood cells and regenerates you that way. So we don't even need the shot. Now, the curious thing is, within a month's time of chanting it Satanama, we had those results. Now, what were to happen if we were to chant it correctly? Actually vibrate it. Satanama, which would be 100 times more powerful. Well, you'd be seeing greater results within a less amount of time. So here we have a rejuvenating meditation chant that is available to us, thanks to Satan, that can rejuvenate our youth back. Now, if we continue to meditate, and we continue to do things such as the Satanama chant, we're going to live more than long enough to start our work on the magnum opus. The work on the magnum opus activates the chromosomes within our DNA that have been given to us by the gods. It is the God DNA. And once activated fully, the body will not do its strange occurrence of wanting to shrink and wanting to kill itself, basically. And once that does not occur anymore, then you have the full activation of the body's glands and chemicals and what have you. So therefore, the body is as a 20-year-old or a 21-year-old forever, because the glands and whatnot do not begin to shrink. Things do not work in the reverse order of operations, basically. So, therefore, if you look at a 20-year-old, their body is rejuvenating itself at 100%, and so will you for the rest of eternity upon completing the magnum opus. So I hope that helps others to understand what the magnum opus is, how it works, and how immortality is possible. Hail Satan!